Welcome back. We are going to be doing the rest of Network Services 2, and this is now part 2. We're going on to SMTP. So we're going to be doing tasks 5, 6, and 7, and then we'll be finishing off 8, 9, 10, and 11 in the next video. If you want a written write-up, the link will be below, and if you need anything else, please reach out. And if you want to like the video, subscribe, do all that stuff. Awesome. Okay, with that all out of the way, let's go to task 6 and just hit start machine so we can get our VM up and running. And we'll go over to task 5, understanding SMTP, and we can just start going along here. So, what is it? So it stands for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. It is utilized to handle the sending of emails. So you probably used this protocol before, whether you knew it or not. And in order for this to work, there are a pair of support email services comprising of POP and IMAP. Together, they allow the user to send outgoing mail and retrieve incoming mail, respectively. So the SMTP server performs 3 basic functions. So it verifies who is sending the emails through the SMTP server. It sends the outgoing mail, and if the outgoing mail can't be delivered, it sends the message back to the sender. Cool, so most people will have encountered SMTP when configuring a new email address on some third-party email clients such as Thunderbird. I've done this, like setting up for friends or family or for like work purposes. And as when you configure a new email client. Cool, so POP and IMAP. So Post Office Protocol and then Internet Message Access Protocol. So they're both email protocols who are responsible for transfer of emails between client and a mail server. The main difference is POP's more simplistic approach of downloading the inbox from the mail server to the client, where IMAP will synchronize the current inbox with the new mail on the server. Just out of those two options, I sort of like the implementation of IMAP personally, and downloading anything new. So this means that changes to the inbox made on the computer over IMAP will persist if you synchronize the inbox from another computer. POP or IMAP servers is responsible for fulfilling this process. So how does it work? So we have a little diagram here. Email delivery functions much the same way as the physical email delivery system. The user will supply the email, a letter, and service, the postal delivery service. And through a series of steps, we'll deliver it to the recipient's inbox or postbox. So the role of the SMTP server in this service is to act as the sorting office. So the email is picked up and sent to the server, which then directs it to the recipient. We can map the journey of an email from your computer looking like this. So user to this server, SMTP server, going out, pinging around, going to the IMAP or POP server, and then going to the recipient. So it lists out the order. Gonna just skip past this for now, and there's a good article here, which another article is on my read list. What runs SMTP? So software is readily available on Windows Server platforms, with many other variants being available on Linux. So Windows Server, they've got email client or server just built into it if you activate it. More information if you want a technical implementation of it, got a link there. Cool. All right, let's go over the questions together. And we've got, what does SMTP stand for? So we had it up here. We've got Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. So we can pop that in. What does SMT handle the sending of? So what does it help? Or what does it actually send? Emails. Yeah, 39, baby. What is the first step in the SMT process? So that's what I skipped. So let's go back here. So we've got the mail user agent, which is either your email client or external program connects to the server of your domain. So connects or something. So we want the mail user agent connects to the SMTP server of your domain, initiates the SMTP handshake. That's what we're looking for. So it connects, but it authenticates This connection works over SMTP port, which is usually 25. So looking for the SMTP handshake. And what is the default port? 25. So it's a well-known port, something that's good to memorize. I definitely haven't. Where does the SMTP server send the email if the recipient server is not available? That the recipient can't be accessed unavailable. The email gets put into the SMTP queue. That's, I think, so if it can't reach it, if the recipient server can't be accessed or is not available, the email gets put into an SMTP queue. So, okay, not exactly back to the sender. On what server does the email ultimately end up on? So it's either POP or IMAP. Ultimately goes, so we can use that diagram. So like ultimately ends up here, and then connects or gets sent to the recipient. But ultimately it's on the server, I guess. Can a Linux machine run an SMTP server? Yeah, I'm pretty sure everything can. Can a Windows? Well, yeah, it's semi-built into the system once you turn it on. So yeah, cool, awesome. All right, we are up to the next one. So I'm just going to ping our IP. So we're going to go on to task 6, enumerating SMTP. So we'll probably start with another port scan against the target machine, and we'll see. So we'll do like we've been doing, and we'll run nmap now, and then we'll go through. So I've found that this I don't know, string or not really string. This set of switches for the nmap command, running A and running T4 speeds up the process and doing all the ports. This has been working quite well. I still am skeptical of the T4 speeding it up, but so far things are going well. So we're going to run that. And as that's running in the background, I can see 25 already. So I know that's default from the last task. So that's cool. That's default SMTP. Okay, so let's get started. Before we begin, make sure to deploy the room, check. Enumerating servers, poorly configured or vulnerable mail servers can often provide an initial foothold into our network, but prior to launching an attack, we want to fingerprint the server. Fingerprint the server to make our targeting as precise as possible. Is that sort of this term fingerprinting? Is that sort of just like a way of, when you've got, you're enumerating, you're getting like a fingerprint, something unique to identify servers? That's sort of what that means. Not sure, but it sounds cool. We're going to use the SMTP version module in Metasploit. So Metasploit is an awesome framework that can do a lot. There's a couple of rooms in TryHackMe just dedicated to learning this tool. So it's good to go over this to keep learning it because it's massive. So there's a set of modules built around enumerating or exploiting SMTP. So that's cool. As its name implies, it will scan a range of IP addresses and determine the version of any mail servers it encounters. Ooh, cool. Enumerating users from SMTP. So the SMTP services has 2 internal commands that allow the enumeration of users. VRFY, confirming the names of valid users, and EXPN, which reveals the actual address of users' aliases, and list email. That's kind of cool that we can pull that out without like going onto it or like accessing it. Using the SMTP commands, we can reveal a list of valid users. Okay. We can do this manually over a telnet connection. However, Metasploit comes in to the rescue, providing a handy module appropriately called SMTP_enum for enumeration. That will do the legwork for us. Using the module is a simple matter of feeding it a host or range of hosts to scan with a word list containing usernames to enumerate. So we might have some usernames given to us, or we might have to use just a random word list of generic usernames. So we'll see what instructions give us, but we've definitely got our host that we can plug into it. So requirements. As we're going to be using Metasploit for this, it's important that you have Metasploit installed. it is by default. So if you need it, you can go apt install. I think it's MSF console or Metasploit. It might probably tell us, but it's one of those. But yeah, we should probably do a apt update and upgrade. Good idea. Gonna do that in the background. Okay, so we're all good. We can do apt auto remove. Get rid of some old packages. Cool. Okay, it's worth noting that enumeration technique will work for the majority of SMTP configurations. However, there are other non-Metasploit tools such as SMTP user enum that work even better for enumerating OS level user accounts on Solaris via SMTP service. Enumeration is performed by inspecting the responses for these different. So, what were these again? These were SMTP services in commands. These were commands for the okay. So it tries to get responses from these. Okay, sort of understanding it. This technique, it could be adapted in future to work against other vulnerable SMTP daemons, but this hasn't been done as the time of writing. It's an alternative that's worth keeping in mind. Distance for Metasploit preparation. Okay, cool. So let's run a port scan against the target machine. Same as last time. What port is SMTP running on? So my port scan's still going, and it's going to go for a while. So let's try and see if we can just answer these as it's running. Okay, so it's definitely on 25, and that's based on this first port that the scan has told. And if your scan isn't showing anything, make sure you use your -VV for talkative verbose. That's going to see all this information about what our scan's actually doing. Okay, now we know what port we should be targeting. Let's start up Metasploit. What command do we use? So I'm just gonna go and open a new terminal here and just let that run in the background. I'm just gonna go over to our system. So we've got our scan happening at the moment. So we'll just let that run. So for this, we use MSF console. So we should have MSF console, and let's search the module SMTP. So we can use -Q to enter quietly. So usually you get a big old banner message, which is fine. You can just run MSF console and just open it up. Just -Q would just give us the thing. Can take a little while. I might need to run MSF console init or MSFDB init, but looks like we're working. So we can search for SMTP underscore version. So here we've got set as ID 0. So this is like our search results, and if there were other things that matched this, we would get a big list: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is just set to 0. It's the first one that's come back. Cool. So this is probably what we're after. So what's the full module name? We got it. Now, great. Now select the module in the list. How do we do this? So we can just say, it tells us here. So we can go info 0 if we want to find out more information, or we can just go use 0. So we can just go use 0, but it's not looking for that. Don't know. I'm going to come back to that one. Have a look through the options. Does everything seem correct? What is the option we need to set? So we definitely need to set. Okay, we'll look it up. So if we we've just used use 0, so that's selected our tool. So this is going to be the tool or the module that we're using, and we need to set it up. We can't just set it up. So we can use not get. Was it set? Yeah. So if we look at set, we can or maybe is it options? Options? Yeah. So I don't really know the difference between set and options, but if we just type in options, we've got R hosts, R port, and threads. Okay, so all three of these things are required. We can see here the port that we're specifying is already set to default 25 because that's the default of SMTP, I assume. So cool. But then the R host, so this is the actual host or the IP or the machine that we're wanting to target. So we can go set R hosts to and just paste in our IP address. So like that, that confirms with our hosts is equal to that. So if you just want to confirm that, you can type in your options again. And now we can see that indeed we've got it there. Awesome. So the last step of our thing, we can just hit run, but let's just finish this off. So we've got it. So we've got our host. So I honestly do not know what that is. Set the correct value of your target machine, then run the exploit. What's the system mail name? So we can just run run, or we can just run exploit. These all sort of just work. That'll target the system with this payload. Okay, so we've got SMTP 220 Polo SMTP home. So it looks like that's the system mail name that we're looking for. So what was our hint? Looks roughly like an email address, sort of. What mail transfer agent MTA is running? So if we have a look, this could postfix might be our mail agent. Yeah, that's our mail agent. If you need send a letter, you post it. So that was the hint. You postfix. So that's the mail transfer agent, MTA. Not exactly sure what that is. I don't remember that showing up. I may have skipped over that. Another one to lock that in. Okay, good. Now you've got a good amount of information on the target. To move on to the next stage, let's search for the SMTP enum. So we don't have to like exit or go back. We can just use search here and we can find it. So again, we can just go use 0 because on the list, it's the first one and computers start at 0. So we're just gonna go use 0. And we can see here, our prompt has actually changed. So we're no longer selected this, we've now selected SMTP. So that's just asking what's the full name. So let's just do that. Like this is good. So this is like making sure that we're actually using the right tool. So I like this. We're going to be using the top usernames shortlist. Oops. I don't know. Is my scan still going? Yeah. I actually don't know what this is. Let me just open up. I haven't. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna have to download it. I don't have it. I've seen a couple people use this locate commands to try and find any file like that, but I don't have it by default, so we'll have to download it. So it's an amazing collection of word lists. If you're running Kali Parrot, install sec lists. Okay, it's a part of sec lists, so we can just go apt install sec lists, and that'll grab that for us, and then we should have it. Cool. I am going to try that locate tool again once this downloads, just to see what options do we need to set in the word lists. So if we go options, again, we've got our host, so we need to set our host, and then user file. So this is going to be our word list. So we can see here by default, we've got Unix usernames set. So that's cool. If we just ran this, we may have a chance. So I'm just going to look up this and see if I can... Okay, so this is it. This is the raw list. So it's not that big of a list at all. I'm fairly confident if I just use that other default lists that it would have worked. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to wget this right here. And I'm gonna go back here and we're gonna set the user file to this. And now I know the file there. Now I'm going to run it and hopefully see something different because we actually have fed a word list into it. So since it's not that long, shouldn't take that long. It's weird. So I assume that this list is, so it's under usernames. Was there a usernames? Oh man, I'm so blind. I didn't even see that. Okay, can we just list out what's in the usernames? And there it is. Okay, I swear I do this. I just find the longest way to do things. Anyway, we have got it working, even if I do things the wrong way. I'm going to pause the video. No, I'm not. Here we are. I will pause the video to figure out what the hell that question is, but we have found administrator has worked, so that's cool. And my scan finished. So I'm just gonna cat this out and grep 3 open. So there's still only 2 ports open. Good that we did the whole scan just in case there was something else, but so what was it? Administrator. I'm so dumb. I just wasn't understanding the question. Thank you for the write-up. It's now select the module and list the options. How do we do this? So that was on me for not understanding it. But it did trip me out. Now select the module is like one part. List the options. How do we list the options? Would have just made my brain understand that a little bit better. I was like, how do I select it and list the options? How do I just select it first? Okay. I was doing it, but I didn't understand the question. Anyway, cool. So let's go on to task 7, exploiting SMTP. So let's go over what do we know. Okay, at the end of the enumeration section, we have a few vital pieces of information. We have a user account. So that was through our top list. So we have administrator, and a type of SMTP server and operating system running. So yeah, we know this. It's running on Ubuntu. We have the name. Okay, so we know from our port scan that there's an open port on this machine is an SSH. So that's also true. We have an SSH here. We're going to use this information to try and brute force the password of the SSH login to our user preparation. So it's advisable that you exit Metasploit right now. I don't know how to... I'm just going to copy paste this information, but I know that there's probably a better way. So I'm just going to copy paste this and just chuck it over into a file. And I'm just going to call it... I don't know. What did we actually find? You know what? I'm just going to call it SMTP underscore enum. And I'm just going to paste it in there. Just for, you know, our records. So we got our scan. We've got, you know, everything from there. Cool. So we can just exit out of everything. And I don't think we need sec lists open. So just, cool. Okay, so now we're going to go over to Hydra. So I believe Hydra is installed and I have used it. Cool. So we're going to be using word checklist. So here's our command Hydra T. So this is going to specify the speed. I'm gonna play around with that maybe. Login. We've got username. So we can go down here. Points to the account. Points to the file of possible passwords. So in the past I've used rocku. So we're going to be using rocku again because we're doing passwords. VV for verbose, and then we're going to be trying to exploit the SSH on our machine. Cool, so this is pretty simple, so we can just follow the bouncing ball. So T for, I think it's threads or amount of tasks, is 16. But, you know, I think by default it's running at 4, but we can go up to 64. So, yeah, I'm just going to try 64, see what happens. Administrator. And then we've got P for the password list that we're going to try. So go user, then go share, we're going to go word lists, then we're going to go to the rocku text file, dash V uppercase V, specify our IP, and then SSH. So that's looking pretty good. As long as I spelt things right and the 64 doesn't throw us any errors, let's try and run that and see what we get. So revolving burst. Whoa. Error. So we see some more attempts. It's working pretty fast. And we have a success highlighted here. I should have teed this out. I forgot to tee it out for record keeping. So what is the password at the enumeration stage? So we've got our password here. Great. Now let's log into the SSH. So we can go SSH and we can go into administrator account at our IP address. And we can hit enter. That's going to say, hey, sure, Your fingerprint, what's the password? Copy that, paste it in there, and hopefully we're in. Cool. So let's list out what we've got. We have a dead letter. I'm just curious. Is that what something is tried to send or something? Okay. We have a mail. What's in mail there? So I guess this is just a part of the SMTP. Then we have an SMTP file, and that is our flag. Cool. Going to copy that, paste that in, and that is part 2 complete. Well done. If you're following along at home, congratulations, you've made it this far. We've only got one more part of 3 or 4 tasks left of this room. So that should be up soon. If you've enjoyed this video, thank you very much for following along. If you got this far, congratulations. It's very cool. I hope you've learned something, and I hope that you're going well on your cybersecurity journey. I will see you in the next one. Thanks for staying around.